Tweet has been sent.
Yeah.
It only
Good
took me
refreshing.
13 minutes.
I mean, look. Sometimes it takes a while. It happens to everybody. Sometimes
Just-
it
These things
takes a while.
happen.
These things happen, man. It's completely normal.
But they don't happen to me.
Listen, let me assure you, it happens to everybody, Dan. At some point in time, it comes for everybody.
Man, oh my god, I just had to check to make sure it wasn't my channel. I had flashbacks.
Oh,
I had flashbacks.
Go live on the wrong channel.
Oh, I had flashbacks.
So many times. It's always a glorious occasion. It's like, wait, I don't see us live on PD. What's going on here? And of course, you go through the checklist of things that could have possibly gone wrong. And then the notifications start coming in of people chatting on your channel. Like, what are they doing there? I'm not live.
Yeah.
You know, one of these times we should just roll with it. Just go
Yeah?
live on the wrong channel and we just play it through.
just let it go.
Pretend nothing's wrong, like this is just completely normal, and play it through.
No, I have a feeling Moon would have something to say
Cross that bridge when you get to it, bro.
True,
Right.
true.
How have you been for the last 2 weeks, by the way?
Me?
Yeah.
I've been well. I took a vacation. I'm centered. I got my dad peanut M&Ms for Father's Day, so that's a win.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wait, is he allergic to peanuts?
Happy
don't-
Father's Day.
We don't
You're
talk.
last.
We don't talk about his peanut butter, his peanut allergy. He just
Irrelevant information.
look, man. He loves anaphylactic shock.
It's his favorite. It's so exciting.
I got it for him for his.
Oh, that moment where he just stabs the epinephrine in his throat. He lives for it. He lives for it. Comes back. Ah, every time I get a little closer to death, and coming back is all the sweeter. It's like,
It's
okay,
an
Dad.
appreciation I didn't have before.
Somebody out there. There's somebody out there
I'm
whose
sure-
dad is that guy.
Yeah.
He gets it twice a year, 3 times on a leap year.
I live for the rush.
What gets me up in the morning. Looking forward to next Father's Day.
Oh.
Gotta wait to see how his kids are gonna try to kill him this year.
How are they going to do it this year?
Can't wait. It's the best day of the year. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 283 of the Planet Destiny podcast, your weekly guide to this week in Destiny. Joining us this week, we've got our usuals back, the one and only, the Danfinity. He is here.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, it's good to see you, man.
Good to see anybody. It's pretty great.
It's good to be seen.
Yeah.
I am the Black Link, and joining us this week, we have a very, very special guest. The one, the only, Mr. BlueJay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm happy to be here. This is really
Thank
exciting.
you. This one is, we're super excited to have you on because, of course, you have been kind of a center of attention for multiple reasons. We're going to be talking about the season of the plague and all the things that went into that. We're going to be talking about a lot of the animations and whatnot that you do. There's a few that I watch on repeat, including the one you have pinned. The Overwatch one is just... It's
I'm happy about that one. I'm glad you like it.
so good. So good.
It's all rotoscoped. If you know
Really?
the method. Yeah, it's you have like the original right next to it.
Mhm.
It's kind of like reference footage, but you like put one
Yeah.
on top of the other.
Yeah. And you kind of mat it
Yeah.
over one another
Right.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like digital rotoscoping. It was kind of wild.
This is the kind of stuff we're going to be diving into it over the course of the show because animation fascinates me. It's the process of taking still image and superimposing motion over it by putting out frame after frame after frame after frame to create the illusion of motion. It
So
blows
cool.
my mind. It's above my mental scope for handling it. It's just like it's like a caveman watching fiery shadows on the wall. It's amazing, and I can't
It's
wait
like
to
magic.
dive into some of that. That's magic. It's magic to me.
It
And
might
it's
as well
something-
be. Right.
Yeah, it's something that I've always been interested in, and so I'm super psyched to have you on the show here. But for those out there in the audience who maybe aren't acquainted with you, why don't we take a couple of moments to allow you to introduce yourself to the audience and what it is you do?
All right. Well, as you've heard already, I'm BlueJay. I'll just call me Jay if you'd like. I'm a little like relatively new as far as community goes. I've been playing since early Taken King. Um, like I think like maybe February Taken King around there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, been loving it ever since, but I was a solo player for almost the entire time. Um, I was one of those people where it's like you were the one guy that people called when they needed a sixth. I was that guy during Rise of Iron. So I played a ton of Wrath of the Machine, and people would be like, "Oh, hey, I know somebody," and then I'm the guy that's the somebody. But I never really had like a group of people
Yeah.
to really play with, and so recently I've actually been catching up on a lot of stuff, which is cool.
Well, yeah,
Um,
you've been busy.
yeah, I've been busy, that's for sure. First kind of big old thing is the whole Season of the Plague project, which while I kind of spearheaded the whole thing, it would be very wrong for me to take any kind of full credit because that is so not true. Um, we had a slew of people, an entire community, the whole Destiny community of people knew about it. They're incredibly supportive. But I kind of led the whole thing. It is so my kind of place in it, and I produced some of the stuff that went with it as well. Um, and then after that whole project happened, everybody involved with it, we decided we wanted to become a proper like studio, or
Mm-hmm.
at
Yeah.
least refer to ourselves as a studio, even if it's not like illegal, whatever. Um, we call it a studio for funsies, and also to give ourselves kind of like a um, mock industry kind of a thing, on a lot of interviews and resumes are like, do you have any like experience working on a game project? And this way we can say,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Oh,
Um,
hold up. Let me pull about 5,000 articles up for you. I got you.
right. Let me pull out the day in which I absolutely lost my mind when Paul Tassi wrote an article about me.
Right.
Right. And so that it all kind of started out because me and my buddies all just really wanted to work at Bungie, and we still do.
Mm-hmm.
And CIG is like Bungie's like the goal, but it's also just working in the game industry overall.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're gonna build a portfolio of stuff that's high quality. It's in our wheelhouse. We're all working together on one big thing. So we can slap it on a resume and say, hey, we worked in a team on a game style project. And then, here's an example of what I'm capable of and that I can work with people. Um, and so Season of the Plague kind of became that in the wake of me getting so close to a Bungie internship this summer, and I didn't end up getting it. Um, I got to like the final interview, like
Yeah.
the last one, where they're like, we have a couple people, or this is the last one, and I didn't end up getting it. But with that not happening, I was then left a bunch of room to do the whole Plague project, which probably wouldn't have happened if I was then, going off and doing an internship.
Right.
So I'm kind of happy that it went that way when I look at it.
And I find that to be maybe one of those fortunate bits of fate there, because of course you wouldn't have been able to work on a fan project for Destiny, something as certainly as ambitious and big as Season of the Plague wound up being, if you were actually working for Bungie. And this, who knows, that might this project as a whole, which we're going to dive into, might wind up being the foot in the door that you guys get into the gaming industry.
That's the
And
goal, right?
yeah, and it's certainly amazing work. So for those out there who maybe somehow missed the Season of the Plague stuff, what exactly was it? How did that start?
So it started with me making a set of conceptual mods, like armor mods, based on Siva, or my Siva nanite mod concepts, and I posted them on Reddit, and it just blew up overnight. I woke up in the morning and my phone had just like hundreds of notifications, like, what's going on? Like, I know
Yeah,
people like Siva, but what's this? And it just blew my mind, and people were just going crazy over it. So I thought, well, dang, like I should maybe do more with this, because I made the designs for just the symbols themselves. I went on to then, flesh out what they do and stuff like that, and kind of go more into the realm of game design and what they
right.
do, because I'm interested in that as well. And so after I had made that, my buddy Reed approached me and he was like, "Hey, dude, why don't we do a little collab? I can like animate what some of these effects would look like if they were in game. Do like a little demo of like what would the nanite look if I animated it, and we have some kind of guardian model, and it's some small simple thing."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's how he said it. It was like, okay, we're gonna do this little
Short,
thing, and
quick, easy.
yeah, quick, easy, definitely not 4 months long. Um, and so we started working on stuff, and then as time on, more people started to join this little cozy group chat on Discord we named Plague Upon Ye. Just this little group chat that everybody's working in, and just more people started to join. Everybody either directly offered to help, or we reached out to them because we thought, oh my god, this person would be perfect for this, and then they said yes, obviously.
Right.
And so the team just kind of grew over time. And if you guys remember a while back when everybody at Bungie was just very vaguely tweeting out Bungie in all caps all over Twitter. Yeah. So we all saw that on the team, and we knew that we were going to call this sort of little mini project of ours Season of the Plague. And so, and like we were throwing around the joke name of Plague Gang. And so I said, okay, I have an idea. We're all going to tweet this out at the same time. I'm going to count down, and we're all going to tweet at Plague Gang in all caps with no context at the same time.
Right.
And as soon as that went out, Destiny the meme, Moira, who ended up joining our team, screenshotted it and made like a "the numbers Mason, what do they mean" meme, and like sent it out. And so everybody started seeing it, and the word started spreading, and it was like, this has immediately turned into something much larger than we had planned or foreseen. And so we were all like, oh, what's like a fun thing that we can add onto it? Maybe like some kind of like emoji, and then we used like the red diamonds for the Siva diamonds, and we added it to all of our names. It was this whole thing that we originally were just gonna kind of do for ourselves, and then other people started doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody started putting the diamonds in their names, and we were like, okay.
It's growing. It's growing.
It's growing. It's infecting.
Zoom, enhance, replicate.
Right. Yeah. And I'm never gonna forget. For a long time, nobody at Bungie directly commented, because it's like, we're making a conceptual season. It'd be kind of a weird gray area if somebody official commented on a fan season when they're just about to launch one. But there was one random day where DMG tweeted out with a screenshot of the Anarchy ornament saying like, oh man, super excited that this is in the store. And at the bottom of the tweet was the red diamond emoji. We were just all losing our shit. We were like, yeah! The DMG is with us! Just kind of losing it. And so that was really cool. So it ended up being just this huge community movement of less so being like, we want this in the game, and more just a celebration of artists. And so everybody in the community who enjoyed Siva or all of those things from Rise of Iron, people just started coming out and making art inspired by it. They were saying like, oh, seeing all this interest in Siva again, I'm gonna make art based off of it. And so, all of us would retweet anybody who was making it, and it just kind of grew from there, of not only us, but just an insane amount of incredibly talented artists in the community just making all this amazing art. And so we were like, okay, we really got to kick it up a notch.
Right.
And then Bife tweeted, and he said something along the lines of like, seeing a lot of buzz about this whole Season of the Plague thing made by a group calls themselves the Plague Gang. It was very much in his tone. Would you be interested in seeing a video on it of if this were to happen? And I responded saying, well, hey, if you need any more info, I'd love to talk with you about it. And on the inside, I was like, oh my god. Like, I've been listening to this man tell me about lore for years, and here I am responding to him under his tweet. And then he responded to me. He was like, your project? Yes, it is mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would love to talk with you. And he joined our Discord, and he hopped in the voice channel, and we started talking about all of it. And then we played him the music that we were using for the trailer.
Oh
And
yes.
it was at that moment that he knew that the project was way more than some little thing. Um, it helped that he already knew Drexus from working with him before,
Hmm.
but on this, he comes in, he like heard the music, he was like, okay, now I know you guys are serious. And that's when the real project started. So we were storyboarding, we're getting all of the narrative laid out. That was all Moira, all of the
Yeah.
animation, the motion capture by Reed or Cinema Motions. Drex is working with the mocap. Everybody on the team just putting in the utmost of work, and it was absolutely incredible. Like, we had custom modeled armor.
Yeah.
So Ornanolog on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, they made the armor, and 3XN painted all of the armor just from scratch. They just did it in ZBrush and Substance Painter, and they just made a whole
Right.
set of armor. And then Reed got the mocap ready, and so they were in that whole cutscene. It was just a super cool thing where everybody was making some totally original, really crazy thing. And
Yeah.
then there's all the weapons and stuff. So
Right. It's kind of this incredible story about a group of people who just kind of started off to make their own little family thing. Just like, here's a crazy what if that we could put together
yeah,
that then spread to so many different, so talented people, just immensely talented people coming together to truly make a would-be concept for a fan-made season in Destiny. And it feels
yeah,
like more than that. I mean, you guys you made mock-up mods, you made mock-up Siva weapons.
yeah.
Remember Delta's stuff with some of the forged weapons redone in the
Mm-hmm.
Siva version. You
Those are
guys made
great.
trailers and whatnot for this. It
Mm-hmm.
really is kind of an incredible story of what a passionate community can kind of come together to create. You really made something special.
It's something that I'm gonna be thankful for the rest of my life, that it
Right.
all happened how it did. Because at the end of the day, it does all come from a place of passion,
Yeah.
and a passion for the game, passion for the community, and a passion for wanting to work in the industry and working at Bungie in general. And so it all just comes off of you know this passion to want to create stuff. And so in that way, it was just totally pure, just love for making stuff. And so it was nothing else than that. There's no motive of monetization or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. It is just making something awesome for the sake of it. And I think that's what made it really, really work so well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful passion project that I think has come together in an amazing sort of fashion that I think is worthwhile to delve into. So let's turn our attention towards the season of the plague. Lay out the story. What's going on there?
So the whole narrative of it was written up by Moira, or as so many of you know her by Destiny the Meme.
Mm-hmm.
So she handled all of the narrative, which I just kind of advised, and then Bife was there as the consultant for anything Moira maybe didn't know, or if she said
Yeah.
something and he would be like, well, that's
Yeah.
not, let me correct you on that. And so
Allow me to
there
whip
were
out
some
the
really
lore.
cool, like, yeah, there were like just cool calls that we did where it was just the three of us sitting there talking lore, and there's Bife reading out like whole lore tabs, and I'm sitting there like, oh my god. It's great. Um, so the narrative for it itself starts out with the Guardian getting a transmission from the Drifter. The Drifter says that there's some funky fallen activity on Europa, and that they're trying to raid Clovis Bray facilities and take some of their tech. After Aramis is gone, they're just trying to salvage whatever they can.
Mm-hmm.
The player then shows up, and they aren't able to stop them in time, and they flee, and you can't really track where they go. You go back, and Drifter says, just look around in the system for anywhere where the Fallen might be. You might as well start with Shaw and talk to Shaw, and he makes some weird quip about Shaw being lame.
Calls
Oh,
him Dumbo or something.
yeah, it's
Good
something like
news.
that. It's like, oh, that Shaw guy. You go to talk to Shaw, and he says, actually, yeah, there's been some weird stuff happening. Um, we've noticed a lot of fallen activity. you go into into the Cosmo where you normally, in Destiny 1, where you see all of the broken bits that lead into the Plague Lands are all broken and open.
Oh boy.
You go and you see all of the fallen activity, and that's where the cutscene in the trailer of all of the Guardians fighting together, and there's the cool sword shot and like the chaos reach and everything.
Yeah.
That's all like it's like the closest we could do to in-game gameplay of a mission. So that was kind of our stand-in of all of these Guardians going in and doing this mission, with the end point being that you get a distress signal from Shiro, who says he is in the replication chamber as he was trying to search for the source of all of this, and he needs your help bad.
Yeah.
So the Guardian makes their way down to the replication chamber. That's where in the trailer you see me just like sprinting down the hall.
Right.
And upon rescuing Shiro and everything, a bit that we didn't actually like fully get integrated into the trailer just from production time is that the Guardian then gets their ghost attacked by Siva while they're not looking. And so Ghost is attacked by Siva. The Guardian is then also attacked by Siva, and their Shiro brings them back to the Iron Temple to see Saladin, because you can't take a super infective Guardian back to the city, because that would be really bad.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that weekend, those few weeks in the tower.
Yeah, where it was the Owl Sector stuff
Yeah.
in D1.
Yeah.
And so, that was the whole thing. And then there was this whole storyline that wasn't as fully fleshed out, that was going to be based around the Guardian working with Anna to kind of harness Siva with the Siva subclasses at the end. There was also a generally larger overarching storyline that also, just because of time constraints, didn't get fully fleshed out, that would have linked up well with the end of Chosen, in which the Scion Conclave was very interested in Siva and using it, and so we had a whole tie-in with that. But just production time, that ended up not really happening. But that was going to be the tie into the previous season, because we set it narratively immediately after Chosen. So Chosen ends, the Conclave is still a problem, the player goes off to do a thing, and whoopsies, the Conclave is somewhat involved.
Yeah.
And it goes right back into it. And so I'm sure Moira could do it even better justice than I can, because I mean, she wrote all of it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like the rough overview, is multiple distress calls, some pretty unfortunate things happening to the player, and then harnessing Siva at the end and getting the Siva subclasses that you see at the end of the trailer. That was done by Kat, which is Hello, I'm Kat on Twitter. She did a really good job on those.
Yeah. Fantastic job all around. And even on the story bits there, I think it's kind of amazing how well, thematically and aesthetically speaking, it fits right into the tale we've got going on with Destiny right now. Siva has been kind of a huge question mark since the end of D1, where we just kind of left it alone and never really addressed it again. And I think it would be prime. I think it would be primed to make its way back into the story at any point, with all the advancements we've made with Rasputin, now with his disappearance, because the darkness hit that light switch and shut him off.
Right.
I think now would be a perfect time to sort of bring that narratively back into the fold. And this is about as good a story as I could imagine for Destiny bringing it back. It's kind of perfect how well it fits in.
Honestly, huge props to Moira, and of course to Bife for helping out with that, because it really did turn out amazing. I came in with a very simple, okay, the Guardian ends up eventually going to the replication chamber and Shiro's in trouble. That's basically all I had. And then I said, Moira, help. And workshopped it from there.
Isn't there a cache of Siva on the Exodus Black?
Yes, there is. Yes. And that ties into the seasonal activity, which is shown off a little bit in the trailer. And it was fun because around the time when those 12-man clown car activities were a thing, was when we were developing this. And so I said, you know what? It's a 12-man cooperative activity. So you see in the trailer, it's like, containment breach, 12-player match-made activity. it's like you're going to contain the caches of Siva so that the Conclave or the Cabal or the Fallen can't come and get them, and then you get them at the end to enhance your subclasses.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And again, just to kind of show the depth that you guys went through with this, you came up with your own seasonal activity here and narratively tied it in a perfect sort of form. I think the work you guys did here, that trailer was just mind-blowingly good.
Thank
The
you.
teasers and everything that went into this, the weapon designs, the armor designs, everything about this was just grade A top tier work. And I could not imagine. I could not imagine the amount of work that went into producing it.
It was a lot, especially nearing the end of the line, because it was so early on that we had set up the whole like, oh, May 5th thing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
as soon as it was coming, we're like, oh God, May 5th.
May 5th. Here it comes.
So you're like, we have so many things that we still want to do, things that we're going to have to cut because there's no time, and then there's me saying, Reed, you have to sleep. Please sleep. Don't keep working. Drexus, please sleep. Please. Like, it was a balancing act of wanting to get as much as we could done, as well as making sure that there wasn't too much crunch on specifically Drexus and Reed,
Right.
because they were really just the main two on the big cinematics, with Reed doing the mocap and Drexus putting it together, as well as doing some hand animation in between. And so there was a lot of stuff where it was like, yeah, we're probably not going to have time for that. And I'm like, okay, well, is there any way I can help? No. Can I do it? No. And it just like, let me handle it. And, it just ended up being like, okay, what can we get done without like compromising the, like the mental health due to any kind of crunch.
Yeah.
And it really changed the way that I view running like a large group.
Yeah.
Because I got this perspective of like, oh man, I'm in charge. I'm the one that's supposed to keep this from happening. How do I do this better next time? And so I spend a lot of time now thinking like, okay, further projects, how do I make sure that doesn't happen? One, no hard deadline.
Yeah.
That's basically the one. That's, yeah.
So, do you know how many man hours you put in? Like, the team itself put in to make this?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. How many man hours went into it?
No, it's more so a joke answer of like, how many hours? Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Every hour.
A lot of hours.
Every single one, everybody participated in.
I mean, there's a lot of work that had to be done. And, also, big shout out to Lex Rion. Lex did a ton of management and showed us Trello. And Trello is how we ended up organizing everything. None of us had used it before, and she set up just everything. Everything had tags. It was all organized. I was like, man, how would we have even done this? Like, it would have been insane. And so she got it all set up for us, and so things were actually organized. So I'm really thankful for that. But through that, we were able to say, okay, who's working on this portion? How long is this probably going to take? Tags such as like needs info, incomplete, need models, stuff like that. Yeah. Saying, okay, we need Mont to even, or we just call him Mont. We need Mont to get this map for us from D1. When do we need that by? When do we need it all set up? And so this is this whole process of noting what needs what, by when, priorities of what's more important, stuff like that. And so I don't know if I could get like a proper hour number, except for just saying that, man, it was a lot. It was a lot of stuff. For me, it was pretty much like a constant, like, while I may not have been like animating for the whole thing, it was a pretty constant like management of it.
Yeah.
Like, a ton of social media as well, and getting that all work. Which now actually Protheon is our community manager for the studio. And so he's handling all of that. That's out of my hands now. So
You see, even in that, and you basically hiring your own community manager there.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, putting this fan-made project together, you guys basically got the experience of working in a studio. You had to
Yeah.
divvy up roles. You had to divide work. You had to put things on a timetable. You said earlier that we had to figure out what we had time to finish and what we
Mhm.
didn't and cut that content out. You basically got the full experience of what it's like to put one of these endeavors together. And that, I think, is going to be invaluable in your future in this industry, which I absolutely 100% believe you guys are going to have a future in this industry. It it really is kind of amazing the experience you've all put yourself through, and you succeeded. That's the thing. That's the big thing
Yeah.
here. You went through all of this, you succeeded, you made the deadline, you got it pushed out. It was massively successful. And I think a round of applause. Hats off across the board to you guys. Amazing, amazing work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That really was the goal. Is you have this game project where like that is the thing that
Mm-hmm.
it's like working in a studio. And now I get the perspective of being a studio director who has some things that I gotta update.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, things I gotta edit. I see why studios do things in a certain way because of problems that will come up if you don't.
Yep.
Having things as organized as humanly possible, have, a plan A through F, just in case anything happens,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of
Exactly.
thing. Like, man, it's a lot. It's not that I thought it would be easy. God, Jesus Christ, I didn't think it would be
Mm-hmm.
easy. And looking at it, like, it is still more difficult than I had expected, but it's
Yes.
also really rewarding
Yeah.
because at the end, after everything, you get to look at it and be like, man, like,
We did that.
Yeah.
we did that, and it's still surreal. Every now
Mhm.
and then, I'll go back and I'll watch the trailer again, and it'll hit me like it did the first time, where like the morning of, we were waiting. It was like down to the wire. We had Wall Hazard on Twitter and on YouTube. He does a bunch of incredible video edits and sound design work in the community. He was working on all of the sound for the trailer, and
Right.
he stayed up until like 5 a.m. doing all of his edits. And the files were so big that he had to like cut them into 3 parts and upload them to Google Drive. And
Yeah.
so then it was on me as the final step that I get up in the morning, run downstairs, open up Premiere, get everything into
Put it
the
all together.
Mm-hmm.
ultimate final assembly, bits of audio balancing, and then upload it and get ready for the premiere. That was like the final step, and it could not have been more down to the wire at all.
Yeah.
But like, well, no, we had maybe like an hour of breathing room, but even
that's
saying that
not
out loud is,
much.
Pretty down to the
like,
wire.
hour of breathing room when you've been doing this for 4 months.
That's
Yeah,
not
you
much
got
at
it out
all.
there, you got it done, and that's
But we
amazing.
got it done.
And it's amazing, amazing work. I would
Yeah.
definitely recommend to anybody out there who hasn't seen it. I do believe it's still up on your channel. Go check it
Sure
out.
is.
Season of the Plague. Google it. You will find it. And
Yes.
like I said earlier, 5,000 articles about it.
Yeah.
There are a
Because
lot of articles. Yeah.
this thing made a splash, and I think it was one of the most impressive things I've seen in a long, long time. All I have to say is, if you need a voice next time, hi.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do
I'll
that
let you know.
sometimes.
Also, so before we move off into the TWAB land,
Right.
are you guys currently working on another project?
Yes.
So,
He's thinking now. He's
first
thinking
off,
politically how he
I'm
can answer this.
Again, another skill you need when you're a student.
you have to learn how to dance around questions.
Yeah.
No, but the one thing I promised everybody at the end of Season of the Plague is I said, okay, minimum, I'm giving everybody a month to 2 month break before we do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Give everybody a breather. Give everybody time to work on their own projects.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Give everybody time to decompress, work on their own stuff. Maybe, if they want to keep working on their own and learn and continue their work on their own, then they can. But it was meant to be just big chunk of time for a break. And the next thing is less like we all agreed that nothing on that scale is probably ever going to happen again. Because so many stars had to align for that to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And so much of it happened as a happy accident that manufacturing that would be impossible to do again. And
Oh, yeah.
so we've all kind of settled that instead of doing something like that, it's going to be more like, okay, we're going to work together on making one like 5-minute long cinematic where everybody does something, we have a team of set designers, a team doing lighting, the lighting's part of the set design.
Yeah.
Team of animators, everybody. And then that would be sort of what we'd be doing, is doing like larger videos. We've thrown around ideas of like working on very small scale game projects proper in Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting together Quixel assets, which is just free mega scans that they give you to use. And just putting together some kind of small, I cannot stress that enough that it would be small because it would take a ridiculous amount of work to make anything substantial or huge.
Right.
Small game project, larger cinematics. But at the moment, we're working on kind of like smaller scale stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because a very fair point brought up specifically by Drexus and Reed is they were saying like we need more people who can animate because we have quite a few animators now, but it was less so. Let me rephrase: people who can animate with motion capture data, because we have a lot of people who can animate, like do hand animation, like Cat does hand animation, 3 does bowl. Everybody in some facet has done some kind of animation on their own, but it's more so knowing the pipeline of using the motion capture data. And so what we're going to be doing is just a series of much smaller personal projects for each of us.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really put it out there properly because I talked to everybody and I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about here. We're calling it Aripe Gladium Origins. And so that's going to be, everybody's doing 3 very small pieces. There's the beginner level animation, which is going to be like an idle animation of your guardian kind of standing there and just like a fun little idle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. It has to have like an infinite loop, so you could put it on a wallpaper engine.
Okay.
And then that would be it. And then the second one would be like an Overwatch style highlight intro thing of just doing like a bit more complex but not super long, and then pair it up with something, maybe some kind of footage. It doesn't have to be the Overwatch thing, it doesn't have to actually be a play of Crucible, but something of that scale. And then the third thing would be like maximum 2-minute long little cinematic about your guardian and like their own story. So I don't know if you saw Sierra put out a video, which if you haven't checked out Sierra, please go check out Sierra's channel. He put out a prologue cinematic of his guardian going into like an old Rasputin bunker, and there's like a distress call from me saying that I need guardians to meet me in the plague lands, and that like I'm gonna die if I don't get help, kind of a thing. And so he put it out the day before. He put it out on May 4th, and it was like supposed to be this big hype thing of what's coming tomorrow. Yeah. And it was about like 2 minutes long. So we've said that like the third one would be that like the short kind of a 2-minute long brief little cinematic for some background on your guardian, and that would be our way of learning, everybody getting more comfortable with motion capture data and generally setting up all that stuff, so that when we do eventually do larger projects, again, larger cinematics, that everybody can help in the animation aspect, and that like the effort of that is then spread out more widely, so that we can avoid the crunch on fewer people. So it's this cool just little thing. It's nothing that's it's not going to shake the world or anything.
Well, you don't know.
But,
like it could
Stranger
pop off.
things have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we're just doing a series of small things, really, for the process of learning for everybody, and then after that, there's other stuff that I won't talk about.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, I can always talk about the ideas that are, scrapped that we won't end up doing.
Yeah.
Like we thought about collaboratively, everybody takes like a 30-second chunk of time or something like that, and we collaboratively reanimate the dance party trailer they put out for the D2 launch. So we would take like portions of the video and each person animates like a chunk of it, and then you put it all together and throw it out there.
Yeah, I saw a Star Wars remake that way.
Did you?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
there was like, I want to say like 10, 15 years ago, there was, I think everybody was given like 60 to 90 seconds of Star Wars, like just a bunch of animators. All animated it in their certain style and everything, and it's
I remember that.
pretty interesting project overall.
Yeah.
So
It would have been like that. Everybody gets like 10, 15-second chunk or something because it's a short video. But the idea was brought up, and it was like we need more people to be able to animate at that level before we do that, and so that was kind of pushed to the side. Yeah. So I don't know if we'll ever do that, but that's one of the scrapped ideas that like. We throw around dozens all the time. We're just like, oh, what if we did this? Like
as it
stuff
goes.
Around. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think all of that sounds like a fantastic idea. I'm glad you guys are taking a bit of a break before you dive into anything. And I think the idea of having everybody animate kind of their own personal character and, going through the steps that you have there is both a fantastic way to give everybody practice and to establish their own personal brand. I think it's a brilliant idea on multiple fronts, and I cannot wait to see more come out of you guys and your entire group. It's really, really stellar work, fantastic work, and I think you're going to keep everybody entertained for a long time.
It's the goal.
Time. Well, all right, should we finally dive into some Destiny news and whatnot?
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
There's not much of it.
A
little limited.
About 18, 20 minutes left in the show. Let's talk a little bit about the game. I think it's been, an interesting couple of weeks in Destiny. We had the corrupted expunge missions go live last week.
Yes.
Those have been interesting.
So cool.
Oh yeah, and very subtle changes with the Taken just kind of flexing their infection there. The little notes they leave you up at the top left corner of the screen, I think.
I see you.
It's so cool.
I see what you're doing in my realm or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
see you broken, rent asunder, taken.
Yeah.
Is on the lines later. Yeah.
Chill, Curio.
So cool.
It's interesting narrative stuff, and we're moving closer and closer to the finale of the season story, where we're going to be taking the fight, hopefully, to a big stinky Hydra.
Oh yeah.
And so, have you guys had a chance to play a decent amount of Destiny this week?
Oh yes.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting caught up on everything.
Definitely. I spent a lot of time this week grinding up my other two characters that I forgot about.
It always happens.
I spent a lot of time in the Glassway.
Up to date. Yeah.
Oh, Glassway, yeah.
I spent a lot of time in the Glassway over the past week, and
I'm so sorry.
I mean, I'm sorry, personally.
I am too.
It's a rough one.
It is.
It is.
It's something else. That's for sure.
It's a rough strike, and I spent a bit of time grinding Glassway this week too, trying to get a decent plug one. Didn't get a single one to drop.
No.
Granted, I quit after 5 Nightfalls.
Yeah.
Not a single one dropped in 5 Nightfalls. And that was something that I was playing a bit with Nim. Our buddy Nim plays.
Yeah.
Over the course of the week, and there was we both had a bit of a conversation about how it feels to complete a Legend Nightfall or a Grandmaster Nightfall or any upper difficulty Nightfall and not get anything for your time. Doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't feel good at all, and especially when you're running a strike that's just such a slog, like the Glassway is.
Well,
yeah,
it isn't even that. Like, 90% of it isn't a slog. Like, with the right team makeup, with the right loadouts, like we were making it to that final room like pretty quickly. It's just that final room, man. That's the brain melter.
It's rough.
It's a long fight against a health-gated boss. Don't you love
Right.
that? Isn't that the best?
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's great, man. Don't you love health gates on your bosses? I mean,
Yeah.
ugh.
What we did find, blinding grenades worked really well against the mini-me.
Oh yeah,
and
Yeah.
and like
shut him down.
yeah, it was like the rest of it was all pacing. I did use my warlock on the successful run that we did with the turret. I've named mine Sandy.
You gave it a name.
I gave it a name. I gave it a
Nim
name.
hasn't.
It's
He
the
refuses to.
yeah. It's the only time I've felt connected to a warlock, so I had to do something to commemorate the occasion, and
Right.
yeah. So Sandy took a lot of bad guys out. It was pretty good.
That turret is busted, man.
It's so good.
So good.
Yeah, it's funny because you know, I unlocked everything for Warlock with Stasis shortly after Beyond Light dropped, but I never really used the Stasis build until until well, basically both Error and Nim shouted it at me in my face to do it. You know, Error's got videos up on it every week. Oh, the new best way to use the Stasis turret in Nim. You know, he calls himself the Winter Wraith now. We need to sit him down and have an intervention because he's getting a little too into his character.
Is he referring to himself in the third person? The winter.
The Winter Wraith is unpleased. Yeah.
The Winter Wraith is hungry. The Winter Wraith
wants to know your
requires cheese.
The Winter Wraith just ordered Chipotle. It will be delivered to the Winter Wraith in 43 minutes.
The Winter Wraith is expecting to use the restroom 40 minutes after Chipotle.
Check that. 22 minutes. But you know, he showed me his build, and I finally tried it out, and it's like, holy good mother of God! It's a grenade that kills and freezes everything in the room, never goes away, and gives you your energy back. So you, even if it does go away, it's like, oh, let's throw another one.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's very good. Sandy is a worthwhile tool.
Oh yeah.
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 I've been on Warlock. I've been messing around with Mantle of Battle Harmony, and I realized if you run Max Intellect, is it Glacial Inheritance? Get some of your Stasis super back.
Yep.
Run Cryosthesia, so then you're getting all of the Stasis elemental kills for Mantle, plus Max Intellect, Glacial Inheritance.
Oh no.
It's a little busted.
So you just throw it in a room and like go read a magazine for 5 seconds.
Yeah. So you can throw out all of those nades for the turrets, use Cryosthesia, and you get your super in no time. It's actually kind of ridiculous. Yeah.
I love that though. I love the utility that's been kind of built into the Warlock class right now, where there's so many different builds. Because I'm still running the Chaos Reach build. The I'm that scumbag who gets 5 supers every Crucible match. What are you gonna do about it? Get blown up by a Kamehameha? Yes, that's what you're gonna do about it. So it makes me happy that like I can run Top Tree Dawn, I can run of Radiance with Boots of the Assembler, which are going to be getting that reversion to their nerf, I think, in the next big patch. Which can't wait for that.
It's gonna be good.
Between that and Stasis, there's so many different build options now for Warlock, and it makes me happy. It makes me.
It's so good. Like I'm a hunter main generally, but like I've been loving Warlock recently. It's just so fun.
You know, our buddy, the one and only Holly mod, Mr. Aries.
Oh.
I think he has to play Warlock for the next season or something because he made a very silly bet. GCX. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Speaking as somebody who has to be a Titan until Witch Queen, don't do that. Do not do that.
Don't challenge him.
That's quite the bet.
Don't challenge him. The audience will win every time.
Every time.
But all right, I think we had a rather short TWAB this week. Only really a few things to talk about. We've got Iron Banner coming up in a couple of days, which is always neat as an opportunity to get Pinnacle rewards. But far more interesting is the notion that we have got some returning Dreaming City and Moon weapons that are going to be coming back into the fold. I think this week, right? Is it this week that they're coming back?
No, I think it was the week after.
The 6th? Yeah, it's the 6th.
Yeah, it's coming back on the 6th.
It's the week after you watch or listen to this podcast, hopefully. It's going to be July 6th. We've got a brand new update that's going to be dropping that's going to be bringing back several moon weapons with access to new perks and several Dreaming City weapons to kind of match some of the Dreaming City weapons we've got on hand. I don't know if we've got the article up. I don't have it in front
I
of me.
do.
I've got it up. Yeah.
Oh, look at these professionals. I don't have to do jack. This
Look,
is
man.
great.
That's how it goes.
But there's good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really interested in both Loud Lullaby and Arc Logic coming back.
Yeah.
Especially with Loud Lullaby being a 120.
Oh,
and
yeah.
wondering how that's gonna shake things up a little bit. Because that's like directly farmable. If you get a good Loud Lullaby roll, you can just keep farming it on the moon over and over again.
Yeah.
And that, like, if it gets some nice new perks, it could be pretty viable, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know we spoke a little bit before the show, specifically like a Killing Wind Loud Lullaby,
Mm-hmm.
with, the litany of buffs that Killing Wind gives. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were mad about
be
120s before, you got another one coming, baby. Another
Right.
one's coming up. So what was the full list of things that were coming back?
Let's go through it. So, from the moon weapons, we have Loud Lullaby, One Small Step, Tranquility, Arc Logic, Dreambreaker, Every Waking Moment, Love and Death, A Fine Memorial, and Night Terror. And then coming from the Dreaming City weapons, we have Tiger Spite returning,
Right.
Twilight Oath with Vorpal Weapon, which is like a dream.
Okay.
It is a dream.
Yeah.
And Abide the Return, the sword.
Right?
The
Yeah.
sword.
Quite a few fan favorites in there. Like Jay said, Loud Lullaby, Tranquility was a fan favorite. I'm really excited for Arc Logic. To
Yeah.
be coming
Oh my
back.
god, I love Arc Logic.
It's a great gun, and I think it kind of got overshadowed in the season that it was dropped. So it's going to
Yeah.
be great having that back. But Twilight Oath with Vorpal Weapon was just like, that's one of those, you just look at Bungie like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, they know. They
You
frickin'
what
know.
you're doing with this.
They know, I'm sure. Yeah.
So do you have so you're looking forward to Tranquility, Jay. What about you, Dan? What are you looking forward to here?
Dude, really looking forward to Twilight Oath. That was one that I dug quite a bit. Let's see here. Tranquility, I like that one a lot. Yeah, the moon weapons, I didn't use a lot of them. I had certain. It was more about the feel. Tranquility was one that was that definitely kind of felt more chunky in my hands. And so like into getting that back, into getting Twilight Oath back. Other than that, like outside of the snipers, I'm not really.
It's interesting in terms of at least the moon weapons because they kind of dropped in really sort of an uncomfortable spot where they dropped and then immediately Season of the Undying happened. And we had the Undying weapons, and most of those were awful. But it felt like the moon weapons kind of got buried underneath a list of new weapons. And then, of course, after that, it was the season of whichever season that had the sundial. Which was
Yes.
ludicrously
Oh
good
my
weapons that
God.
dropped in the season of the whatever the season with the sundial
Yeah.
was. Ludicrously good weapons. And so I always kind of felt like the moon weapons had some really good options there, but they kind of got dumped on immediately after release.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they're getting a second shot in the sun here, though. Bungie, I wouldn't turn my nose up to you bringing the sundial weapons back.
Yeah.
I need
Oh my
another
God.
Martyr's Retribution.
Yes. I love Marty. It's so good. Plus that and Steel Feather Repeater is probably one of my favorite autos that we've ever had.
Man. It was solid, and like with a lot of the perks that we have access to today, give me
oh
like
my
a
God.
subsistence Steel Feather, I'll take it.
Right? I would
We
take it.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to having these weapons back. It does widen out the loot pool, though. Like, our loot pool is
Yeah.
going to be fairly wide. And so, I don't know. With that comes variety, but also dilution a little bit there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're looking for that one gun that you also need a good roll of, and then,
Yeah. It's not a guarantee. It is not a guarantee.
Yeah. But at least, I think they mentioned in the TWAB that these weapons will be available from the same sources that you could get from them before. So I'd assume that you can focus farm them, like speaking of the moon weapons with the lectern and all of that. I'm assuming you'll still be able to focus farm specific weapons that way.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. So if you don't get the loud lullaby you want, it's not like you got to go and run things and get a random chance at it again. You can actually focus on getting loud lullabies.
You can just do loud lullaby, exactly.
It's not going to be that way for the Dreaming City, I don't think. I think those were just random drops.
Yeah.
At least with
although,
moon stuff, you can focus it.
I still have not gotten what's it called? Dream something. It's the bow. I'm forgetting what it's called. The
Wishender?
Exotic bow.
Wishender?
Yeah, Wishender.
Yeah.
I still have not gotten Wishender.
What
so
platform are you on?
PC.
All right. Dude, let me know.
I have like one of the runes left. I went in and I missed one of the bosses. And so I charged 2 of the runes and not the third one, and I got to the statue and I was like, yes, finally. And then I didn't have it.
Oh no.
Let me know if you want to run sometime. I'm
would
good
love
with that.
that.
Yeah.
Easy work.
Well, the thing is, I have not gotten any of the eggs yet. So as soon as the 7th rolls around, I'm just gonna run around and just
There you go.
and get all the updated weapons because that's the new loot pool.
Yeah, you got what? There's what? 41 of the eggs.
Yeah.
41 drop chances.
Free drops, right?
Yeah. And a ship or whatever it was at the end of all of that.
Yeah, or like the ghost or something, right?
Yeah. This man was playing long con. He was smarter than the rest of us. Just waiting.
Here's the question. He always has been. He always has been.
Oh.
Man, I kind of wish I had done that now because I just went through, popped them, and then sharded those weapons immediately because there was no need to have them back then. Oh well. Yeah, I'm psyched about this stuff coming back. It seems like Bungie's slowly but surely bringing back a lot of the previous season stuff, which, you know, like Dan said, is good. We've got a huge loot pool of weapons that we can go for right now.
Absolutely.
Do you think we might be getting onto the verge of a few too many?
Don't start that conversation.
Last time we had that conversation. Some interesting things happened last time. I think,
Understood.
like, honestly, even to go one step further, there's 2 guns that I am always really confused are still sunset. And that is Trust and Bygones. You can buy them from the Drifter to finish dredging, but they're both still sunset.
Yeah.
Why?
That is odd.
So you have to use sunset weapons in Gambit in order to get a modern title, but the guns are still sunset. So you like can't really use them in endgame content if you like them, but you just have to buy the sunset versions. It's really weird, and it makes no sense to me. It feels like it's one of those weird oversights.
Yeah.
That just kind of whoosh.
That had to have slipped through the cracks because, like, you're right. You need those for the title.
Right, but Bad Omens got brought back in Arrivals. So Bad Omens isn't sunset, but the other 2 are.
Could it be because, like, they were so pervasive in the loot pool? Like, those were weapons that you saw a lot of people using because they were good. Like, most of the rolls on them were
really
good. Yeah.
That's true. You would see Trusted Crucible everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's got to play some part in it, and maybe down the line we'll see something. But yeah,
super odd. Really odd that those are for sale too. It's
right,
like,
you can go and buy them, but they're sunset.
you can use them in 6s.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can use them in 6s. That's odd. Hopefully that is. Hopefully that's something that gets addressed.
Right. Yeah. Maybe somebody at Bungie will see this and think, "Oh, that's weird," and pass it up.
Power still kind of matters in Gambit, right? Doesn't it matter
Yes.
against invaders?
Against invaders and
against invaders.
I mean, granted, you're getting xenophaged anyways.
That's me. I'm the xenophage.
Oh my god! I'm so glad Nim's not here.
I invade with supremacy and Xeno.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Mwah. Beautiful. Playing to win. This man is here to win.
He knows what's up.
What you gotta do. So, good.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of like what else we got this season.
Solstice is happening in about 10 days, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yay.
Right.
Yay!
That's gonna be awesome. I always love Solstice.
Me too. I just hope it's well. What's the friendly way to say this? I don't want it to be a month and a half grind on 3 different characters for armor that's going to be useless.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the most important thing. Don't want the armor to be useless.
Don't make it useless.
It makes me wonder almost if they're just going to be ornaments.
I think so.
Because we have transmog. If it's not even going to be armor that you get if you actually just unlock ornaments.
Or
I would be fine with that.
Or it's just high tier loot. Like
Right.
That too.
if it was guaranteed high distribution gear, like it would make that event worthwhile doing. I don't see people going hard in paint for ornaments anymore, especially after transmog. If it was if you could get like a 68 roll on just about anything, you'd be like, I want to go to there. I will definitely go to there.
I won't complain. Like if you get like some kind of targeted loot system with Solstice where it's like, oh, go do the European aerial zone. Go do that again, and you can get a nice like 65 to 68 roll. I would do it. I would do it. Yeah.
2 of my favorite words from the Division is targeted loot. It's
just,
Beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing. Every looter shooter needs to look into doing that for their end game. Targeted loot needs to be a thing. But I think this brings up a really interesting conundrum because we do have Solstice of Heroes coming, but with this universal ornament system that we've got right now, that whole, hey, here's pretty armor with an ornament that you can do a ridiculous grind to get, or like a glow or something. I think Dan is right in saying that alone isn't the big carrot on the stick anymore. I don't think that would get a lot of people off. I mean, a lot of people have been going hard into this glamour system. They've got really unique looks. We've got all kinds of crazy looks coming out of it, and I love it.
It's so
so I think Bungie offering an armor set from a new activity, whatever it's going to be. I hope it's not European aerial.
I hope it's not.
Yeah. 2 years of that.
I hope so.
It's a cool space. Give it to us as a PvP map.
Yeah. That would be great. It doesn't need to be a game mode anymore, though. Not in the way that it was.
Or if it got like another look, some kind of rework on the aerial zone, I would be good with that too. Yeah.
Do something different.
Yeah.
And but I think Dan's right. Like, you would have to, if it's going to be an activity that's going to be around for a couple of weeks. And remember, the next season that's coming is going to be lasting all the way till Witch Queen.
Yeah.
Arrivals to Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man. But they're going to have to keep people playing for a bit there. I think you gotta throw in high stat rolls as the reward. You gotta make it something that's going to give people a reason to stay in it.
Right.
And that leads to another question. Do they tie the challenges? Because I'm assuming they're going to keep the same system for the Solstice of Heroes armor, where you're going to unlock an armor set, level it up, get it to legendary, and then do challenges to unlock a specific look or ornament for the end. Do you lay all of that on the new activity, or do you lay some of those challenges on just the things people are naturally doing to play the game?
Yeah. Do you put them in seasonal challenges?
Yeah. Right. Do you put them in seasonal challenges? What do you guys think they're going to do there?
I think I wouldn't be surprised if, like, they leave a lot of it to be open for everyone. Because if I remember correctly, the armor has been open to everyone.
Yes.
But that being said, VOG is also open to everyone. So I'm fully expecting that some of the armor pieces will have, like, go do a run of Vault of Glass, or even go do this challenge in order to get the glow for this armor piece or something. Because that's open to everyone. And that could be like a string for them to pull on for really high end game content to get the glows, and say like, oh, go do the challenge where I don't remember the name, but you like kill the wyverns just before they get to the confluxes.
Right.
Go do that. You can get your head armor glow.
Yeah.
I'm honestly expecting stuff like that.
Which is kind of what they did last year. They had a bunch of different challenges for each piece of armor, and not every one was crazy. I think one was like to get 7 wins in trials. One was like to complete a nightfall on like legend or something like that. It was fairly achievable for anybody playing the game.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I hope that they continue that this year.
I don't think they'll make it too tough though. Like, just based on even those, because like 7 wins, I mean, it depends on your group. But it's not hard. It's just it's a time investment more so than like you have to go to the lighthouse or like I don't see them doing a raid. Like I can see them doing something tied to the raid, but I don't see it tied to a challenge, if that makes sense. Where it's like
that could be one step too far. Right?
Complete 3 encounters in any raid, and you get
that.
this.
Right.
Or just beat Atheist.
It's more open.
Like that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, shoot. One of the challenges for the last one was what? Complete that one thing on the moon. What is it?
Oh yeah, Pit of Heresy.
Pit of Heresy.
Go do
One
Pit
for
of
completing
Heresy.
Pit of Heresy. I think Altars of Sorrow was like a challenge on one of the pieces, and that's easy.
Yeah, it's like 3-man activities. It's activities that you can specifically get a fire team of not too many people to do, and then run through it. So it would make more sense to me that way, unless they decide to like make it a quest.
Ooh.
And just be like, hey, you do these things, you do this, like.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think just so long as it's not a repeat of the original Solstice of Heroes, where it was like such a ridiculous grind that you had to do on 3 different characters.
Yeah. I got that ship.
It was a separate project. Yeah, I got it too. I got everything for it the first year and was like, they clearly wanted to keep you playing every second of the day for a full month in order to get this done. And I was like, never again. Never
It's
again.
this weird, like as far as game design goes, it's this really weird realm of like not real difficulty. It's perceptual difficulty. It's not actual mechanical difficulty. It feels hard because it's taking a lot of your time. When in essence, it's not difficult. You're just doing all of these little menial things where it's not difficult, but you feel like you're getting more out of it because you've sunk more time into it. So you're like, yeah, I did it. When in essence, you twiddled your thumbs for like 10 hours.
So it's kind of like a sunk cost fallacy.
It's been 14 hours. I might as well stick it out.
Yeah.
Right. It's this weird kind of illusion of difficulty that they kind of like throw in sometimes, which I mean, it makes sense. Like that's going to be a part of a game, especially a game like Destiny where it's live service. But
they want you in there. They want you in playing and enjoying yourself. So
I
don't know.
Got to stick that balance between, giving you a reason to play the game and respecting the time that you spend on it.
Yes.
Which, to be fair, I think they did a pretty good job of last year.
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like,
just need a better
yeah. Like, there's a difference between go kill 100 of this enemy, then go talk to somebody, then go do this other thing, then do 3 other tasks that are relatively menial, and then go back. What's the difference between playing through one linear experience and then going to the end? The difference is about 10 hours.
Yeah. What?
And, it's what do you want to do with that?
I'm going to say something that might get me yelled at. So when Transmog came around, we were talking about how we thought maybe it was a little bit more invasive than it should be, in regards of getting the stuff, going back to Ada, turning that doing all that. I actually don't think it's that bad of a grind. It's very passive.
Yeah, I really don't mind it now.
TBL,
what are your thoughts on that?
I was gonna say, I mean, I haven't really paid much attention to it. I went through the initial quest. I glamored up 2 armor sets per character, and I just don't really pay much attention to it now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been nearly as invasive as it seemed it would be on paper.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. I will say one of the easier ways. I still don't like the time limit they had put on that 2-minute time.
Oh yeah.
Drops. I think that was not great.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. But there's a way around that by just going to the tower and sitting by the little thing in the loom. Because when people go in there and they turn in their thing, it drops some for everybody else.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
There has to be people. Now listen, it's contingent upon. I saw this on Cheese Forever, who is fantastic. I love that guy. But yeah, you can just when for whatever reason it's like a public zone thing. So like when people go and turn the thing in, it just drops it a little bit of it for everybody.
So people can forage farm in the tower now.
Yeah, you just
is what you're telling me.
and you'll get some, but it's contingent upon people actually going out and gathering the stuff and going in there to turn it in. So you need one person to do the work.
Oh
Right.
My God.
Yeah, it drops a little for everybody. Unless they patch that. Like, that
maybe
was like
they did. Who knows?
I was like,
God, I
2
hope they don't
weeks
listen to
ago
this.
I'm about to go just get a bunch of drip just by standing in the middle.
Do
Saw it on his cheese video.
do I press publish on this when I edit it?
The question, right?
Yeah, we've got a good buddy, Literal Carry, a good friend of mine, Rock. He's in chat there. Says not patched. I see mine dropping in there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I went in there. I went in there one afternoon and sat by it while I saw a lot of people in the tower over there, and I got some, but that was like a week or two ago. So I didn't know if it was still in
I
there.
think it might have happened once to me before, but I was just like, huh. I just kind of like wrote it off because I thought it was just some weird thing. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, if somebody's in there converting their synth chord into synth weave or whatever it's called, it drops a little bit for everybody who's near the limit.
Now everybody's gonna be real weirded out whenever I see somebody at the loom. I'm like, no, wait! I'll be right there.
Yeah. You'll be self-conscious as you're going in there, watching somebody like you're at an ATM at 11 o'clock at night. What are you doing over there, you son of a bitch?
Find you like,
Don't worry about it.
You going to the
Seriously,
loom?
some synth chord, man.
You going to the
Y'all
loom?
got that synth chord, man.
hey kid, you want a synth chord?
Come on in.
I got synth cord here. I got synth cord there. I got watches. I got swatches.
It's just like open up the coat.
Yeah.
It's like strings.
Synth weave, everything. Yeah, but apparently that still works. So.
That's goofy.
Go to the loom right now.
Okay.
And see if
Yeah, go to
somebody's
the
turning
loom.
It in. Go
Had
to
I
the
known,
loom.
I would have been at the loom at this very moment.
And just stay in there idle for the whole thing.
I think I'll do that next week.
Yeah, report back and
Loom
see.
string.
if
No,
the
we'll-
planting's
Do it,
right.
bros.
We'll just in the corner while we're doing the
The
show.
loom cam.
We'll just have how much loom? I get.
A loom cam and a loom counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like
Free money. It just builds up.
people doing like loom recoveries. I'll log on your account for you and I'll stand in the
Loom
stand in the room for you.
carries. $15. I'll do a loom carry. I'll sit in the tower. Easy money.
Oh my god. Great.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody in the tower doing it. Like I was the only person I've ever seen.
Until next week.
Because again, it requires at least one person to actually do the work. Go do those bounties and all
Yeah.
that stuff to get the stuff to turn in. So somebody has to do the lifting.
Right.
A bunch of freeloaders.
If you get enough people, then eventually you'll have enough that it becomes cyclical, and you can just have
Yeah,
this
sit
circle
back
of people.
I just opened my party. We grabbed 5 people just to sit around the loom. Okay, this is my idea. We have 5 people to sit around the loom, and then we let people constantly cycle in who have just completed it.
Yes.
That's it.
It
That's how
eventually
you
gets
do
back
it.
to the beginning with the person who then is 100. They go to the beginning. They come in, they cash it in, and the cycle continues.
Ridiculous. Okay, let's get to questions.
Let's do it.
Let's see. So, first question of the night comes from Mod Sherpa. How do you think they should handle the vault, given they haven't increased vaults, but send setting is gone and there's a whole lot more weapons now?
If I remember correctly, they said it was some kind of technical issue, right? Or like the reason it hadn't been increased is because of some kind of limitation or like something along those lines. I feel like I remember hearing that somewhere, that like they would increase it, but there's some like problem on their back end that would make that impossible.
Yeah, I remember something similar from one of the TWABs or like one of the devs talking about it. That there's a reason they haven't just carte blanche increased vault space to 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000
Right.
or whatever. There's
Yeah.
something on the back end that they've got to work out. I would expect that sometime soon, but not before Witch Queen.
Yeah. If it happened, maybe like launch of Witch Queen kind of a thing, like, hey, celebrate
Mhm.
Witch Queen, you now have 1,000 vault space.
It would
But
still be
I don't know how
filled by
likely-
the afternoon.
It'd be filled by the time I left the loom.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I want to see it. And
Of course.
literal carry in chat says it was in D1. It was a limitation. They haven't spoke about it once in Destiny 2 yet. So, but we did see our inventory screen. Like once they changed everything over to the new quest route and the new seasonal challenges, we did see a reduction in our inventory screen. So
Right.
maybe that's tied it. I don't know.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to do away with the inventory screen entirely. Because of the way that they're pushing, like, you know, armor ornaments are moving, you know, to the bottom of the screen of your menu. Everything's kind of moving out of that section. Shaders are no longer there, and now you just have your
that was big.
your transmat stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just trying to get rid of that whole tab entirely and just like relocate things, and then maybe that like inventory is the limitation.
I mean, that makes sense. Or that makes sense that they're trying to cycle it out. It has been around since D1, and it was something else then.
It sure was.
Yeah. Gray Fox asks, question to BlueJay. Did you have any ideas to refresh the core playlists for your Season of the Plague concept?
Yes, actually. It was actually a lot more thought out for strikes than it was for anything else. Crucible, it was just like bring back D1 maps and go have a ball. That's really just our idea. Here, you know, take some D1 maps. That probably would have been it. But Vanguard strikes, that was a lot more thought out. It would have been a reintroduction of the strike scoring thing that we had at the end of Rise of Iron,
right?
Which was just fun. Like you're running around, you're like, oh man, I got a triple in PVE, but it felt fun because you got the medals. You got, you know, all the fun things popping up. You had a score to chase. It was a lot more engaging in your gameplay than just seeing a little number in the far bottom right hand of your screen. Yeah. Like gamers love big numbers that they earn. Yeah.
Number go up. Me happy.
Number go up.
Number go up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, it would have been a reintroduction of that generally, as well as just like overall, it was kind of involved as far as the conceptual stuff goes, but like restructuring of the loot system, things of that sort, because, you know, a lot of times people will look at strikes and critique them and say like, oh, it's boring, they should add blank or add this or add this. But if the system isn't working, then you change the system. You just don't add more to it.
Correct.
And so it needs a revamp on a fundamental level, you know, which would involve, you know, things like strike scoring, returning, things of that sort, like bringing in more of the fun aspect in which you're looking forward to play strikes. You're like, oh man, I can't wait to go and do this. Like Daybreak strikes. That was the most fun thing in Rise of Iron. What happened? Where did they go?
Mind blowing to me.
Right, and you know, it's stuff like that because, you know, the player isn't coming to the game to just do menial tasks. They play games for fun. How are you going to enable that and encourage that, and, you know, do it less than a ritual, which it is now looked at their ritual activities, as I'm gonna log on and do my strikes today, and where I think it might be more healthy to the player base if it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do some strikes today, that'll be fun. And, you know, changes of that sort would be good. So we had that all thought out and like planned, even though it means very little. You just have this big sort of stuff written out.
No, I think that's perfect. I couldn't have given a better answer for how to revamp that sort of thing myself. Give people the freedom and a reason to run the kind of content that they feel like running whenever they feel like running it. I like that.
Blade VFX asks, what are you most looking forward to in Destiny's future? Like any content you would love to see for all of you, by the way.
Start with you, Jay.
Start with me. I know everybody is just kind of like theory crafting and you know putting pins in a board and saying like it's gonna be old Chicago based on the one screenshot we've seen.
Charlie Day.
As a Chicago resident, very much hope so. Well, Chicago suburbs, but it's really just a giant Chicago.
Yeah, I was gonna say if one of the scenes was the Dan Ryan.
Yeah, you see the Dan Ryan. You know, you go down to Lower Wacker, like in the campaign. You know, it's all swamp. Like, if we get old Chicago, I will be happy as a clam.
Yeah.
That actually happens. Just like looking at that concept art for years and thinking, man, I want to go there. That's so cool.
Yeah.
If they actually do that, I will be so happy. It's like, don't even know if that will happen. If it does, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's been a part of the lore since like back in D1. You know, there's always been sort of the concept of us heading to old Chicago to deal with swamp things and witches and whatnot. And so it potentially coming back in Witch Queen, which seems to be the case given the promotional stuff they've put out and teased us with. I'm really excited about that. We've seen that sort of thing happen before, where you know, like things that were teased in lore, like Europa. Finally making its way to the game as a playable area, the Dreadnought and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I'd love to see that. I'd say my answer to this is probably the same as a lot of people's. I'm most looking forward to crossplay. I think next season, season 15, the introduction of crossplay is going to be amazing. We had that beta playlist for strikes earlier in the season that it mostly went without a hitch. I played a few strikes in it and didn't really run into any errors. Matchmaking was quick and smooth, so it looks like Bungie has been hard at work getting that running as smoothly as possible, and I cannot wait to be able to run raids with all of my ex-bros and my PlayStation fam once again.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for it.
That's going to be huge. Just the way that cross save was huge for the community.
Oh yeah.
And the way that like Destiny going to Game Pass was huge for Destiny.
Yeah.
And like and going free to play in certain essence, like we keep hitting these milestones with Destiny that just keep pushing people into the ecosystem and into the community,
widening the player base. Right.
Exactly. So I see that as a really good thing overall for PvE. What I would like to see, just if I were dream upon dream, is like a Shattered Throne or Prophecy-esque dungeon, like in the size and scope of such, like something like that coming in the interim. We're going to have like this.
Oh yeah.
This season ends in August, I think it is. Like beginning of August, mid-August. And then we're going to have a long haul till whenever Witch Queen drops. Like, so if they were to drop something rather large and substantive, I'd be very excited about that.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely.
So, which I'd imagine they have to. They announced they'd be postponing Witch Queen. Was that earlier this year or was that late last year?
It was earlier this year.
It was earlier this year.
It was during, I want to say it was during Joe Blackburn's director's cut.
Article.
Yeah, when he was like, "Hey, we're pushing it back from our fall date." So
they know they've got to elongate that content. I'd imagine they've been hard at work trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. So whether that means we have just one really long season or
live team whips together a new season, or
Season of the Plague.
They hit you up. They hit you up, and you're like, "You got any ideas?"
Almost like we theory crafted that for you there.
I have it all wrapped up in a little silver platter. You just take it. The assets. Go. Just take it.
What's a trailer already done?
It's done for you. Take it.
Oops! Somebody dropped this. Copy's homework.
Hands over a Siva infected hammerhead. There you go. It just kind of fell out of the sky.
Oh man!
I thought of this all by myself. Look at that.
Slide it in there.
Right.
But who knows?
Honestly, the thing is, like, there was the delay with arrivals. Like, if I'm remembering correctly, that happened a lot closer to when Arrivals was.
I think so.
It was a lot more spur of the moment. Hey, we're going to delay this.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, they've had a long time to plan for this delay. They've had months, probably maybe even a year of thinking of delays. Because I mean, who knows how long it takes before they tell us stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It might have even been a year before them saying, okay, we're probably going to delay this. We'll tell them almost a year in advance, and then we can plan out how that's going to go. Because Arrivals, it was just like, okay, there's just a few more weeks of Arrivals. But this time, they had a lot more time to plan. I wouldn't be surprised if there was actual content planned out for all of that time in between now.
I'd imagine so.
And we don't know when it's coming.
Right.
They just said in early 2022, right? So
Yes.
it could. Do you guys think that they would give a free season away? Like there would be a paid season to end out the contract for what everybody if you bought the season pass bundle with Beyond Light, we go okay. There's one more paid season, and then there's a freebie season that we're gonna toss in just while you wait. Do you think that is something that they could possibly do, or do you think that would be them basically eating money at that point?
I think if they did something like that, they would be eating a lot of money there, but it would have a really great potential of really expanding the player base right before what may end up being the biggest expansion they've ever dropped.
Immediately after expanding the player base with crossplay.
Right. You got crossplay in there, and then I've heard people theory crafting and tinfoil hatting about Switch, stuff like that. It just keeps expanding, and then you'd be like, here's some free content for you. By the way, big expansion's about to drop. If you like this free season we're giving you, you should go buy Witch Queen. It would be really smart. I don't know if not free, maybe instead of it being a $10 season, it's $5 because it's half the length or something. A supplemental kind of a thing that they would give out to people. I think. As far as marketing and business moves go, it certainly would not be bad at all.
Yeah, no. I think that'd be pretty good PR. Certainly a chance of it.
Right?
Something's got to fill up that gap.
Yeah. Even if it's just them unvaulting bits of content.
Yeah.
I could totally see them saying, "Oh, hey, there's some time in between. Go play the Red War campaign. Go play Warmind."
Just Age of Triumph it, okay, we're gonna rotate old raids and whatnot back in. Go play those. Go play the story.
Say hey, we unvaulted all the strikes. You can go play those in the strike playlist, or something like that. Because then they wouldn't have to make new content. They'd say, well, we have this backlog that we can give people in case of emergency. Say hey, we brought Mars back. Go do Mars.
Yeah. Escalation protocol. Go get it done. Get that armor.
You play the Leviathan and you end up fighting the puddle version of Callus.
Yeah, it's like it looks like Jabba.
If he didn't before, he definitely does now.
I imagined in that lore tab that he just looks like Jabba that's just fallen even lower, like a sad puddle of jello.
He's gelatinous. Turned it into that purple goop he was drinking.
Right.
I mean, I had an uncle that did that once. Last question of the day.
Purple goop and all.
Hot Rod R55 asks, loaded question, no pun intended. What effect do you think crossplay will have on PvP?
I think it depends on how they implement it.
Yeah.
Because my immediate reaction is to look at how Blizzard is handling Overwatch's crossplay, which is all of the consoles queue together, and the only time console would end up queuing with PC is if they specifically group up together, and then they're put in the PC queue, and only then would they meet with PC. If it was something like that, combined with an opt-in of if you want to do it at all, I think it would go fine. In fact, I think it would boost populations, and you get rounds super fast. But it would certainly cause an interesting situation where you have the cheaters on PC.
Yep.
And then you have people from console who are maybe queuing up with PC people.
Yeah.
And then you have people from console saying, "Oh man, I'm never going to team up with PC people ever again because I don't want to match with cheaters."
Yeah.
That could be a problem. You know.
Yeah, I would say what effect is linking those up going to have? Initially, none. I don't think it's going to be nearly as bad as some people are afraid of. Like Jay said there, Blizzard and Activision have been doing that already. I play a lot of Call of Duty on PC, and the way Call of Duty matches you now is based on your input. If you're playing with a controller, then it matches you with consoles and other people who are playing with controller. If you start playing with mouse and keyboard, it matches you with other people who are playing with mouse and keyboard. And the only way those lobbies mix is if you join the party of somebody who's using the opposite control method. If you join somebody who's using mouse and keyboard, you get mixed up with other mouse and keyboard players. And it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Matches are quick. They're smooth. I don't notice any real... I've joined a couple of because I play with a controller on PC. With Call of Duty, and I've joined a couple of my mouse and keyboard buddies. I haven't really noticed much of a difference in lobbies there. But the big effect, I think the far bigger effect is going to be cheating. Like Jay said, cheating is going to be the big thing because it's still a big problem.
Anti-cheat.
Right.
It needs to be addressed.
That's the far bigger issue.
Right. And what'll happen if you have two cheaters, one of them's on console, one's on PC. PC queues in with the console guy, goes in with all the console people. You now have cheating on console.
Destroy.
Spider-Man meme.
What happens then?
That's going to be the issue. So
right.
I'm far more worried about that rather than anything else between the connections there or mouse and keyboard versus controller. You get so much aim assist in Destiny.
Right.
Believe me, it's really not bad.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
On PC, you're fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Bungie's going to need to work out their anti-cheat. And that's probably the most important facet.
And that is the most... I think we've said that how many times now on the show?
At least 140.
At least 140.
As many episodes of this podcast.
283 times, at least.
283 times.
They need to work on anti-cheat. But they know that.
They're hiring people specifically for anti-cheat if you check their careers page.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Yeah. Which...
They're working on it.
Is good looking up. But, yeah.
Right.
Hopefully they get that worked out sometime soon, because crossplay coming.
Yeah.
It is coming.
If we can have a nice anti-cheat by Witch Queen, I will be a happy man. I'll be satisfied with that. I'm good with that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely perfect.
Was that a Wire reference? TBL?
Not intentionally, if it was.
TBL? Was that a Wire reference?
Listen. Listen. We all watch a lot of I'm not going to say whether or not it was a Wire reference.
I'm good with it either way.
I like Dominic West.
Yeah. It's a good show.
Classic too. That was what? 2001?
Yeah, like real early 2000s.
It's when those police... It was when those early 2000s police shows started. We had that, The Wire, The Shield.
Yeah.
Oh, The Shield. All right.
Oh, just watching Master Chief go ham. It's great. All right, is that the last question?
That's the last one fit to print.
Well, all right. I do believe that is all the questions fit to print, which means we have made our way to the end of episode 283 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in this time. This has been a really fun show. Very special thanks to our guest, BlueJay. Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. It has been an absolute blast. This has been so fun.
No, absolutely. It was fantastic to have you here. You've been at the helm of such a fascinating project, and I cannot wait to see the stuff that you guys put out in the future.
I can't wait to show you. It's going to be awesome.
Right on. But of course, before we get out of here, we love to give our guests an opportunity to let everybody know where they can be found across the internet and whatever messages you want to put out there. So, floor is yours, my friend.
All the links in the chat is basically going to get you everywhere, wherever you need to go. So you can check out my Twitter. That's where I will be posting most of my stuff. I have a YouTube channel, which I post things on sporadically. It's mostly just a place to host my content. that isn't bombarded by Twitter's horrible compression. Is so yeah, Twitter, YouTube, and then it's also linked in my bio, the Aripe Gladium page on Twitter. Check them out, of course, because that's our official page where we, we'll send out announcements and whatnot. So check that out for sure. And then also check out everybody on the team. Yes. They're all listed on there's a tweet from Aripe that says like, meet the infected, and here's all of the people that are on the team. Right. Check everybody out, every single person, because they all make incredible stuff. And we're also going to be announcing soon some new members that we brought on, and so yeah, real exciting stuff. And check all those places out.
Right on. Make sure you go and show them some love. They're incredible people, and they do incredible work. We can't thank you enough for coming on the show tonight, man.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you here. For those who are confused in the chat, go watch The Shield. Michael Chiklis is basically Master Chief in modern day, hurting a lot of people.
For those of you who don't know who Michael Chiklis is, he was the Thing in the Fox version of Fantastic Four.
And where Captain America was the Human Torch?
Yes.
Right.
They did very little to change anything about Michael Chiklis.
He's Michael Chiklis.
He showed up one day and ate an entire bag of peanut M&Ms, and that's who he was.
I don't even need the epinephrine. Just let me loose.
Tied it all back around.
Full circle. Right back at it again. Right.
That's how you close out a show, baby.
Yes.
And of course, gonna let you know where you can find us as well, starting with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Danfinity.
Oh, hi. How are you? My name's Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and the TikTok at Danfinity, where the eyes are L's. You can also find me on Twitch 3 days a week. We'll probably be playing some other games other than Destiny this week. There's a sale on Steam, and I might have Sea of Thieves now. I don't know. We'll find out.
In time for an expansion.
Yeah, we'll find out together. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. What about you, TBL?
Oh, hey, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. Generally, we have live streams Monday to Friday, starting at around 11 a.m. Eastern Time and going until we get tired. This week, probably going to be doing some more Destiny streams. Big update just dropped in a little game called Outriders that nobody plays anymore. So I might have 1 or 2 live streams for that just to jump in there and see what's new and cooking in that world. And of course, any new Destiny news and whatnot will be covered over on the Planet Destiny YouTube channel at youtube.com/Planet Destiny, where you can find all of that good stuff. But all right, everybody, that is it for episode 283 of the Planet Destiny podcast, your guide to This Week in Destiny. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.